Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Living Systems Collaboratory. My name is Lisa Noggle. I'm a choreographer and a professor at the University of California, Irvine in the dance department. It is my great pleasure to be your moderator today for the Living Systems Collaboratory event. We have a wonderful presenter in just a few moments, but I'd just like to say before we start with her that the Living Systems Collaboratory is a new initiative bringing together designers, artists from many disciplines who are exploring the development of living systems philosophy through projects that they've been working on for several months and in collaboration and alone. So their projects are very much great examples of living systems philosophy, which is a living with an awareness of our interdependence and living as a unified whole from various aspects, which you will definitely see and hear about in the next presenter's work. We've been studying this living systems philosophy for quite some time, but it's really taking root in many ways through all over the globe. And it is my great pleasure now because there's so much to say, I'd like to introduce the presenter, who is Ilaria Forte, and she will present to you in just a moment, but I'd like to give her biography for just a second. Ilaria is a regenerative futurist, explorer of consciousness, purpose-driven entrepreneur, and unstoppable creator. She is a radical innovator for world war that works for all of us. She is a scientist by training and a humanist at heart. Ilaria is committed to using scientific breakthroughs, research insights, and imagination to radically improve our lives and revitalize our society while protecting, preserving, and regenerating healthy ecosystems. Her vision is to positively improve the lives of billions of people and mobilize the transformation towards a more positive future and a regenerative world that works for everyone. Through the lens of interconnection, Ilaria's mission is to activate whole systems transformation, unlock our human imagination and natural resourcefulness to overcome critical issues, from personal to planetary challenges. Her work focuses on issues of systemic chance, more specifically, how to ignite, manage, promote, and radical transformation and disruptive innovation. I think I will end there because Ilaria has quite a presentation for us. So I'm turning it over to you, Ilaria.
Thank you, Lisa, for your gentle introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, I invite everyone to join me in this journey into the unknown. Stay open, curious, and uncensored to co-explore and co-generate with me, with us, this flowing stream of collective consciousness, of life, and living systems. Take 3 deep breaths. Gently let go the things you know. Drop your body, drop your mind. Forget who am I, what I'm doing here today, who you are, and what you're doing today. Let's cross together the boundaries of screens and digital lines to co-arise together as living, breathing, interrelated, and interdependent organism in this time, being ingrained, embedded into the Indra's net, this unity of space, time, and being. Enter the cosmic plenum, as physicist David Bohm, with great beauty, define it. Space is not empty, it's full. A plenum as opposed to a vacuum, and it's the ground for the existence of everything, including ourselves. The universe is not separate from this cosmic sea of energy. To start exploring, just plug yourself into this plenum and share what emerges spontaneously from this cosmic sea of energy and matter we are exchanging right here, right now, in the form of random words, meaningful sentences, or a long string of thoughts. If you want to participate and join, go to harslide.com/plenum or use this barcode. You just need to scan it, and this will bring you to this presentation. So this is how everything started. How did this exploration into life and living systems start for you? Where will this exploration end? This is how everything started, maybe, one day in my mind. Fernando Pessoa, in the book of Disquiet, wrote, "My soul is a hidden orchestra. I know not what instruments, what fiddle strings and harps, drums and tambura I sound and clash inside myself. All I hear is the symphony. My mind is a hidden orchestra. All I sense and stream is the symphony. Nature, nurture, narratives, native wisdom. Non-self, non-sense. What do you sense? The origin of we, a collective story of regeneration. This is how everything started, maybe one day in my mind. A collective story of regeneration, arising and unfolding harmoniously, unconstrained and undivided, at the intersection of multiple dimensions and planes of existence. All beings move through many cycles of birth, life, death, and rebirth, regeneration. A regeneration happening from the individual to the collective, from the collective to the individual. Everything that is alive is going through this process of arising, regenerating, repairing, passing away, decomposing, reintegrating, and returning. So it all started with a series of questions. What is life? How did life originate? What is life for me? Life is what is contained from 0 to 1 up to infinity. Nature always maintains the condition conducive to life. 4.5 billion years ago, a tiny planet arises, a pale blue dot. We call it Earth. We call it home. We call it mother. We call it father. We call it the ground of our existence. The name Earth derives from the 8th century Anglo-Saxon word erde, which means ground or soil. First usage came from the Hebrew word Eretz, meaning earth. About 4 to 3.5 billion years ago, life on Earth appeared, an inextricable tapestry of beauty. Francis Cook, a Buddhist scholar, wrote, "Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net which has been hung, some cunning artificer, in such a manner that it stretches out infinitely in all directions. In accordance with the extravagant tastes of deities, the artificer has hung a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net, And since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hung the jewels glittering like stars in the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. If we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look closely at it, we will discover that in its polished surface, there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in its one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that there is an infinite reflecting process occurring. Life is much more than continuum. As evolutionary theorist and biologist Lynn Margulis put it, bacteria are much more of a continuum. They drop their genes all the time. Like we say in What is Life, it's going swimming in a swimming pool, going in blue-eyed, coming out brown-eyed, just because you have gulped in the water. They just pick up genes, they throw away genes, and they're very flexible about that. So life is collaboration. How do we nurture the condition to sustain life? How do you sense this multidimensional web of life? As Alan Watts described it, imagine a multidimensional spider's web in the early morning, covered with dewdrops, and every dewdrop contains the reflection of all the other dewdrops. And in each reflected dewdrops, the reflection of all the other dewdrop in their reflection. And so, ad infinitum. I sense this multidimensional web of life through collaboration, cooperation, co-creation, and co-evolution. The symbiogenesis of ideas. Through the creative force behind the exchange of ideas, these seeds of these two projects, of these two experiments I initiated and planted inside of this fruitful garden called Living Systems Collaboratory, Design Science Studio, would not exist without the collaboration and cooperation between individuals that drives evolution and the symbiogenesis of ideas. These two projects are collective experiments to catalyze individual and planetary healing through stories and through experiences. Both experiments operate at the intersection of science, technology, art, and contemplative practices. Both experiments on consciousness, perception, and cognition. Both projects blend Western and Eastern philosophy and practices, applying holistic system thinking to restore mind, body, environment unity. Both social innovation ventures foster a transdisciplinary dialogue and reflection and exchange, pointing future path forward. Both projects represent new way of co-creating and share a common vision of fostering planetary regeneration, fully embracing wholeness. For the launch of the Design Science Studio and Living Systems Collaboratory, we have created two cubes without doors or windows, one black and one white, to represent the projects we are about to launch. Emergence is the first cube, is there and stands for the experience room. Break through the walls of a white box, floating in space and time, overcome the perceptual wall and the conditioning of our mental processes. Emergence is a minimalistic, contemplative, sound and visual art installation inside of Mora that encourages us to embark on an inner exploration into existence, a realm of endless possibility. Emergence challenges us to transform emergency into emergence while experiencing the unity and interdependent co-arising of the mind, body, environment. How do you relate the mind, body, environment connection to mental health? How do you experience this interconnectedness of mind, body, environment? In system theory, emergence happens when a system displays properties or behavior its parts do not have on their own. Properties or behaviors emerge as a result of the interaction between the parts in a wider and interrelated whole. We challenge ourselves and each other to transform emergency into emergence while experiences the interdependent co-arising of mind, body, environment as a unified system. Look up, there is hope. We hope we would like to spark with the ER+, turning every space into a patient-centered, life-affirming, and heal-promoting environment. At the intersection of science, technology, and art, we are working on changing mental health care, on clinical spaces, through biophilic neuropsychotechnologies and mood balancing immersive health solution. Reconnecting with nature, ER, is inclusive by design, safe, non-invasive, and accessible for all people with mental, behavioral, neurodevelopmental disorder, catalyzing planetary health, one mind at a time. To celebrate and honor the co-creators of this experiment, both websites will show the name of the collaborators and cross-pollinators who make these experiments alive, beautiful, and possible. Thank you all, Luminous Mind, Spontaneous Weaver, and cross-pollinators. Thanks to the Design Science Studio and Spaceship Earth crew. You can explore the stream under www.experienceroom.plus or www.coevolutionr.one. Thank you very much.
Wow. Stunning. Okay, fantastic. Let's see, where do we begin? There's some, okay. So let's see, how do I begin? Obviously, integrating with the Living Systems Collaboratory framework and collaboration. Let me see, I think I'll go back to the body as a way of being. And what if someone is having, I mean, you talked briefly about challenges, I would say. So what if someone is actually having a challenge and can't really grasp this, seeing the whole, seeing larger than themselves, seeing from emergency to emergent, that they're really stuck in that place of it's me and I have, it's very solo. What kind of advice, or how would you help someone in that situation move from thinking as a single cell, so to speak, into the more inclusive and dynamic community of emerging and living systems?
Thank you for this question. You started with the body, and I think this is where we have all to start, because we are a sensory structure, sensory net, and this is how we experience reality, through our senses. So by activating the touch and eye and all the senses in the experience of nature. So when we go, for example, and walk in a wood, climb a mountain, enter the water in the ocean, or just listen to the birds singing in the morning. You have this sense of magic and hope that nature brings. And your senses are there to perceive this and to integrate it. So in the moment you close your eyes, but also when you have your eyes open and you hear the sound or you smell something or you see something, this is the interconnectedness is there. You don't need to think about it. It's not about thinking. It's about feeling. It's not about rationalizing it. It's not a mental process in this sense. It's a sensory experience. So the only authority and the only suggestion I can give is to go back to your senses and to your experience, to go back to your body.
Wonderful. Yeah, the reason I approached it that way was because sometimes people have, we talked earlier and in other sessions about memory and information and trauma. And sometimes people block off from that sensory experience. We all do at different times. So I was curious about how we could reignite that somatic experience. So let's continue with along those lines and connect it to energy. You were many of the things that you spoke about today. It made me think about energy, as a connector between space and time and experience. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on energy and how that shifts in a human in for all of us at different times of the day and throughout our lifetime, and how we can sustain our energy to continue to be with the challenges as well as the more the easier times.
Yes. The entire ER Plus project, especially the first pilot, R&D research pilot, is on mood disorders and especially on bipolar disorder. And I believe that the bipolar disorder is a disorder of energy. So the fluctuation between high level of energy and low level of energy, which